I was the sole survivor. My brother died beside me. I was on seat 11A, and roughly 30 seconds after takeoff, there was a loud noise, and then the plane crashed. When I opened my eyes, I realized I was alive. It's a miracle that I'm alive and the sole survivor of that plane crash.
Those are the chillingly simple words of a man who stepped out of a living nightmare. His name is Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, and on June 12, 2025, he became the only person to survive the crash of Air India Flight AI 171. Every one of the other 241 people on board, including his own brother, was gone. All died in the plane crash. But this story of unimaginable grief and impossible luck has a bizarre twist. It's a story about a seat. Seat 11A. Because 27 years earlier, in a completely different crash on a different continent, another man also beat the odds. And he was sitting in the exact same seat. This is the story of two men, bound by a shared trauma, and a mystery that seems to defy all explanation. Join me as I dive into the incredible story of the miracle Seat 11A and see if I can uncover how these survivors defied death. Not once, but twice. If you're finding this information helpful, please show us some sweet love. Like this video and subscribe to CuddleQuest 888 for more valuable content designed to support healthy living and well-being for you and your loved ones. We share new lullabies, comforting bedtime stories, and soothing sleep music for babies, children, parents, and adults every week. The end of a journey, the start of a nightmare. For 40-year-old Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, a British national who had lived in the UK for over 2 decades, the trip to India was a chance to reconnect with relatives. He and his elder brother, Ajay, had just wrapped up their vacation and were heading home to London. They were booked on Air India Flight AI 171, a Boeing 787 Dreamliner departing from Ahmedabad. Vishwash settled into his seat, 11A, a window seat right next to an emergency exit. His brother Ajay was seated in a different row, just a short distance away. The plane lifted off the runway at 1:38 p.m. local time. For a few brief seconds, everything was normal, and then it wasn't. Survivors of disasters often talk about a sudden, violent shift in reality. From his hospital bed, Vishwash recounted the moment time seemed to break. He said it felt like the plane just froze in the air for 5 or 10 seconds. Then came a loud bang. The pilot sent out a frantic mayday call, reporting a catastrophic loss of power and thrust. Just 33 seconds into its flight, the aircraft fell from the sky. It crashed into a hostel at the nearby BJ Medical College, just over a mile from the runway. The impact was devastating, followed by a series of explosions and a thick, dark plume of smoke that could be seen for miles. Inside the wreckage, there was only chaos and fire. Vishwash was sure he was going to die, but when he opened his eyes, he saw something that shouldn't have been there. An opening. He was alive. He told reporters,
The side of the plane I was in landed on the ground, and I could see that there was space outside the aircraft, so when my door broke, I tried to escape through it and thank God, I did.
He unbuckled his seatbelt and jumped out of the shattered emergency door. Limping, bruised, and wearing a blood-stained t-shirt, he stumbled away from the inferno. He was the sole survivor. Everyone else on board, 230 passengers and 12 crew members, had all perished. Among them was Vishwash Kumar Ramesh's brother, Ajay. In a heartbreaking scene just days later, after being discharged from the hospital, Vishwash served as a pallbearer at his brother's funeral. A quiet, haunted figure carrying the impossible weight of his own survival. The ghost in the machine. The enigma. As the world processed the shock of the AI 171 tragedy, a strange detail began to surface that would turn this story into a global mystery. The news reached a 47-year-old actor and singer in Thailand named Ruangsak Loikusak. As he read about the lone survivor in India, a chill ran down his spine. He took to his Facebook page and wrote, "The survivor of the plane crash in India sat in the same seat number as me, 11A. Goosebumps." Almost 27 years earlier, on December 11, 1998, a 20-year-old Rongsak was a passenger on Thai Airways flight TG261. The plane, an Airbus A310, was trying to land in Surat Thani, Thailand, during a ferocious storm. After 2 failed landing attempts, the pilot went for a third. The aircraft stalled and slammed into a swampy field, killing 101 people. Ruangsak was one of the 45 who survived. His seat? 11A. The coincidence is just staggering. 2 horrific plane crashes, separated by decades and continents. 2 different models of aircraft, a Boeing 787 and an Airbus A310, which means the physical layout of the seats wouldn't have even been identical. And yet, in both cases, a man in seat 11A survived against all odds. Vishwash was the only survivor out of 242. Ruangsak was one of just 45 out of 146. The statistical probability of this is nearly zero, a ghost in the machinery of fate. While Ruangsak admits he no longer has his original boarding pass, he has always maintained that media outlets at the time documented his seat number. For him, the connection he felt to Vishwash was immediate and profound. A complete stranger, halfway across the world, had just been initiated into the world's most exclusive and tragic club. If you've made it this far and found our content helpful or inspiring, we'd truly appreciate your support. Give this video a thumbs up, and please don't forget to subscribe to CuddleQuest 888 for more uplifting and meaningful content, crafted with care just for you. Your love keeps our journey going. Thank you. The scars of survival. To survive when so many others don't isn't just a matter of healing broken bones. It leaves deep, invisible wounds that can last a lifetime. This is the brutal reality of survivor's guilt, a complex psychological trauma often tied to post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. It's that nagging, tormenting feeling that you did something wrong simply by staying alive. And it's built on one agonizing question: why me? For Ruangsak Loikusak, the years after the 1998 crash were a private hell. Years passed, yet Ruangsak Loikusak continued to speak candidly about the trauma. I lived a second life after the crash, he reflected. But it was a life overshadowed by fear. For an entire decade, he battled a paralyzing fear of flying. He described how his breathing would seize up, how he'd have to stare out the window just to feel a fragile sense of control. The sight of dark clouds would trigger flashbacks, a feeling he described as being back in hell. He remembered everything. The sounds, the smells, even the taste of the swamp water where the plane went down. This is the textbook definition of PTSD: intrusive memories, avoiding triggers, and being in a constant state of high alert. For a sole survivor like Vishwash Ramesh, the psychological burden is amplified. He didn't just survive when 241 strangers died. He survived when his own brother didn't. That personal connection makes the "why me" question almost unbearable. Psychologists say that survivor's guilt is incredibly common for those who witness death up close. They can feel like they didn't do enough to help, even when there was nothing they could have possibly done. Their fundamental sense of safety is shattered. The world no longer feels like a predictable place. This can lead to anxiety, depression, and isolation. For Vishwash, the path forward will be a long one, processing not just the terror of the crash itself, but the lifelong reality of being the one who walked away. The myth of the safest seat. The story of seat 11A naturally kicked off a familiar debate. Is there actually anything like a safest seat on an airplane? Anecdotally, some travel agents in India even reported a strange spike in requests for seat 11A, as if it was some kind of lucky charm. People were apparently willing to pay extra, hoping to grab a piece of its perceived magic. This need to find order in chaos is a deeply human response. We want to believe there's something, anything we can do to control our fate. Statistical analysis from publications like Time magazine has suggested that the rear third of a plane often has a lower fatality rate in crashes, while seats in the middle, near the wing, have the highest. But aviation experts are always quick to pour cold water on this kind of thinking. As former NTSB accident investigator Jeff Gazzetti put it, surviving a crash is ultimately the luck of the draw. The truth is, no 2 crashes are ever the same. Your survival depends on a dizzying number of variables: the angle of impact, the presence of fire, the structural integrity of the fuselage around you, and, most importantly, how close you are to a usable exit. Seat 11A is typically a window seat by an emergency exit row. For Vishwash, that location was everything. He escaped through the broken door right beside him. In that specific disaster, his seat was his salvation. But in another crash, that same spot could have easily been a death trap. Experts agree that the most reliable safety measures have nothing to do with a seat number. It's about being prepared. Listen to the safety briefing, count the rows to your 2 nearest exits, and be ready to move. In the end, survival is less about a magic seat and more about the brutal physics of impact and a dose of pure, unexplainable luck. CTA. The power of the human spirit to endure in the face of the unthinkable is an incredible thing. The stories of Vishwash and Ruangsak are a testament to that strength. If you find these deep dives into survival and resilience compelling, consider subscribing for more stories that explore the edges of human experience. Conclusion. So, what are we left with? 2 men, 2 flights, 2 tragedies, and 1 unbelievable coincidence. Seat 11A. But if you look past the headlines and the mind-boggling odds, you find a much deeper, more human story. First, it's a story about loss. The 241 souls on Flight AI, 171, and the 101 on Flight TG261 are not statistics. They were people with families, lives, and futures that were violently cut short. Their loss is the heavy, unspoken price of every miracle survival story. It's also a story about trauma. The psychological scars carried by survivors are a stark reminder that getting out alive is just the beginning of a long, painful journey. Rangsak Loichusak's decade-long battle with fear proves that the mind never forgets what the body went through. And finally, it's a story about chance, or maybe fate. Was it just random luck that saved these 2 men? A quirk of physics? Or something more? We'll likely never know. The 11A enigma may remain just that, an enigma. But for Vishwash Kumar Ramesh and Rangsak Loikusak, it is a permanent, defining chapter of their lives. They are living reminders of the profound weight of grief, the bewildering nature of luck, and the terrible, beautiful fragility of life itself. A heartfelt message from us to you. If you've made it this far, thank you. That means the world to us. We invite you to support our mission, bringing peaceful nights and gentle comfort to families across the globe. If you found our content helpful or interesting, please consider helping us grow by liking the video, sharing it with someone who may need it, and subscribing to our channel. And tap the bell icon so you never miss our latest soothing content. Your support truly matters. It not only helps us continue creating healing and heartwarming content, but also enables us to give back by donating essential resources to children with special needs. Empowering futures through art, craft for kids. Every child deserves a loving home and a peaceful night's sleep. Your kindness helps provide comfort, care, and hope to children with special needs. If you'd like to contribute, please consider making a donation through the link in this video description below. Together, we can create a kinder, more peaceful world. Don't forget to explore our free meditation, sleep music library at CuddleQuest 888, a sanctuary of calm for your entire family. From our hearts to yours, thank you for being a part of our community. We wish you and your loved ones deep rest, gentle healing, and lasting inner peace.